Welcome to The Card is Going to Change, presented by AIW and sponsored by Smart Mark Video and the This Is Awesome Wrestling Show. And I'm Glenn Moore, your host, joined here in studio by the co-owners of AIW, John Thorne, the John Thorne. Let's get John Thorne famous. Hashtag.
Yes.
John Thorne get famous. And we have Chandler Biggins.
Hello.
Now,
hello. Very excited introduction.
Now, I was pondering, questions that come up for this show, and
Chandler's still crying from last week.
yeah, it's the tears are drying on the leather couch
Please
here.
don't go, Johnny. Please don't go. Please don't go.
I have to
sell out.
I saw last month you guys were booked at some bachelor party, and I have to ask, because this is going to go to a whole episode, just the odd requests you guys have had to do shows. But I want to know about this bachelor party. How did this come about?
Well, it was probably one of the weirder requests that we ever got. As many of you know, we have a student named Worldwide Alex Kellar.
Worldwide.
He is, for those who don't really know too much about him, is always involved in some fucking real weird shit. And he
may or may not be shady.
Yeah. And it always involves something bad. So he had mentioned something to us, I don't know, briefly, like, hey, did you guys ever think about doing bachelor parties? And we're like, if the money's right, we'll do anything. Well,
he told us to hold the date, but he never officially signed up for anything.
He's just like, hey, do we got anything going on August 13th or whatever it was?
And anytime we would send the student group a
yeah,
thing,
because we keep a schedule for our ring rentals and AIW shows and the other things that we do.
And he'd always be like, hold the date. And
he'd
we're
be like,
dude.
Where's August 13th on there? And we're like, what is August 13th? And he's like, just hold the date. I'm working on something. So I would say, I think it was August. I don't know what the date was. I think it was August 13th. I think it was August 13th.
Because it's ingrained in my mind because he kept asking and we had no idea.
So I would say, I don't know, August 13th at 3 o'clock in the morning, so late night Friday. Mr. Kellar sends the group text out that says, hey man, we're good for that bachelor party today, right?
He's like, I just got the money.
He's like, these dudes I know, they just threw a fundraiser concert and they just raised all this money so they could have a wrestling show at their at this guy's bachelor party
this is amazing.
Tomorrow. And I go, wait, what?
He's like, I told you to hold the date.
He's like, I told you guys to hold the fucking date. And we're like, yeah, but it's literally in hours at this point. And he goes, well, yeah, they just threw a fundraiser. These guys did some sort of all you can drink bar thing or some kind of concert somewhere where they raised all this money at the last minute to have a pro wrestling event.
To have you guys come out.
Right. But we were given almost no notice. So fucking it's 3 o'clock in the morning. We got to book a U-Haul. We got to find wrestlers on a Saturday. And we're like, how long does this have to be? He's like, just a show. And we're like, what time? He's like,
no, he specific. I gotta cut that.
No, let's keep rolling.
Stays in.
He specifically said 5 matches. I don't know why they got to 5 matches, but he goes,
that must have been whatever the fundraiser was.
We're
gonna fundraise for 5 matches. So he's like, hey, let's do this bachelor party tonight. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where at? Where are we setting the ring up? Is there a venue? Are we setting it up in somebody's fucking garage? Are we, where are we doing this at? He's like, oh, no, man, it's all good. These guys rented a venue. And we're like, dude, couldn't you have, kept us in the loop a little bit more on this? So, anyway, we booked the U-Haul. We start trying to pull together whatever wrestlers we can.
I'm contacting people at 5 in the morning going, are you open today? Or?
So, we go, and they're running this area called Slavic Village. For people that don't know what Slavic Village is, Slavic Village was probably the place to be in 1940. But in 2016, it is probably one of the worst areas in all of Cleveland.
Yikes.
There's all sorts of factories that are abandoned. I passed a bar just called Cheers. Like, same logo as the TV show.
He sent me a text because we both drove separately. He sent me
and
this
I'm
text.
lost. Like, I'd never been to Slavic Village before, so I'm like, I gotta go get to this place.
So he sends me a text with the bar sign. It says Cheers. I said, I think this might be a copyright infringement with like Paramount.
It was called Cheers, and then underneath it, it's called Cheers, and then in an underline underneath the same Cheers logo, it says Grown Folks Zone.
And I have to do my research, so I looked it up on Yelp, and all the reviews state how people love it because only adults are allowed because it's a bar. And I'm like, who's bringing their kids to bars?
So, like, my GPS cannot find this venue. I'm like driving through, like, by these like factories that are falling down and Cheers and all
like
this
to
stuff.
go back to your 1940s thing, every building looks like it was built in the 1940s.
Yeah, like it looks like straight out of like war times, this area. And I finally like find what I think is this building. It says like bowling alley on it. So we're essentially doing a bachelor party at a bowling alley somewhere in the ghetto where all the other buildings around it are falling down. We have no idea what we're getting into. And of course, Worldwide is like, yeah, man, this is going to be great. This is awesome, right? And we're like,
Worldwide.
dude, where are we? Like, what? He's like, nah, man, it's cool, man. We're going to do this show, 5 matches, going to start at 6.
So downstairs, we found out that the basement has like a full bowling alley in it and a bar and stuff. Well, we were on the top floor, which was like a giant ballroom, like that your like great grandparents danced in.
Yeah, it was like some kind of like Slovenian like club,
dance hall. Yeah.
Like some kind of like back when there was like private clubs and they all had these venues. It was like like the Slovenian blah 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 hall. I don't even know. But this place is awesome, except for the fact that like it was probably built in 1930, had no air conditioning,
and not one renovation.
And like the floor felt like it was gonna like you were just gonna collapse at all times.
Because when we got there, we bring the wrestling ring, and the guy who runs the place is kind of like a younger guy, so he probably got tied into it somehow with his grandparents or something, maybe like a family deal. And he goes to us.
He's like, you think this floor's gonna be all right?
He goes, how much does your ring weigh? And we're like, we don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't have a proper scale. But
can't get Kaplan in there.
And like it's like creaking, and he's like, you think the ring's gonna fall through the floor? And I go, I don't know.
Hope not.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, we're just kind of here because Worldwide said that we're doing a bachelor party. I was like, I don't know anything about this venue. I didn't know that it's about to fall down.
This dance hall is like beautiful inside, even though it's not been touched since like the 30s. We had to move all sorts of antique light fixtures that took up the entire floor.
Yeah, and like there's just weird, like it's just like when we ran like Turner's Hall. There's all these weird rooms in this place and like
fine shit,
weird shit going on. And so we put together like a card of probably the most ragtag collection of wrestlers that we can find, and Eric Ryan. And so we get 5 matches together, which is some people wrestling twice.
3 times.
Yeah, because I don't know. I think we found like 11 guys that could do it for the money that Worldwide and his clan of like bachelors could raise at this bachelor party the night before. So we're told 6 p.m. Well, 6 p.m. comes and goes.
We're just sitting there.
Worldwide, like what's up, man?
Which is usually how shows go. I mean, after bell,
yeah, but
bell
like
time.
there's literally nobody there.
Okay,
like it's not like the bachelors are trickling in. Like it's like 6 p.m. nobody.
Every wrestler is geared up, laying in the ring because they're bored.
7 p.m. nobody.
And we go, Worldwide, what the fuck?
And he goes, hey man, they're on Punk time.
And we're like, what is Punk time?
I go, what the fuck is Punk time? He goes, like 6 means like 9:15 or 10. And I go, well, why didn't you fucking tell us? Like,
yeah, we would have just showed up at 10.
I would have went to Cheers, the grown folks zone, and had grabbed a bite to eat or something.
And then the whole time we were there, Worldwide locked all the doors and would have let anybody outside in case the Bachelor, because it was a surprise party. He didn't want the Bachelor had attended AIW before. He did not want any wrestlers outside in case the Bachelor would see them.
Yeah, he didn't want it. Like he didn't want to blow it. So, like, I think we get started at like a quarter to 9 p.m. or something like that.
So we're locked in this hot ass old building for hours,
and it was so weird. Like, I almost dropped an F-bomb, but people have been tweeting me. I do too
We're
many
try-
F-bombs.
we're
Keep it clean. Keep it clean.
we're trying.
I'm trying to clean my act up, man, so we could take this.
Go a whole show without saying it.
I don't know.
That's hard.
I probably already dropped a couple. I don't know. But so anyway, these bachelors roll in, and it's like the weirdest experience ever because it's like we do this show.
Oh, no. We got to talk about how The Bachelor came in. So they hired their buddy to be the ring announcer. So he is standing in a rented tuxedo in the ring, and these double doors swing open, and there's just a Bachelor there, and there's lights shining on the ring like, surprise, this is your party.
Like, if I was getting married, I'd like want some doors to open and there to be some naked girls everywhere. Like, everywhere I could look. This guy looks in and sees a wrestling ring and is ecstatic. Like,
Who wouldn't be?
I wouldn't be for one.
Yeah, I would want some ladies.
But this dude
I want a ring.
This dude is ecstatic.
This guy runs, jumps in the ring, and just starts going crazy, just screaming, yes, yes, like Daniel Bryan.
And bouncing off the rope. So
Yeah.
he's very happy. So, but it's like the weirdest thing ever because it's like, well, I guess there's indie shows like this across America at all times, but like, it's so weird because it's just like 35 guys just sitting on one side of the ring, losing their minds.
Well, like it was kind of weird though because there's different varying degrees of caring. Like him and his main friends are sitting in the front row and they're going nuts. Then the second row are guys that kind of know wrestling.
Then there's a guy in a dress
Yeah, there was a guy in a dress.
who tried to sell the Duke. He went up to the Duke and said, "Hey man, do you do drugs?" And the Duke said, "No man, not really." He goes, "Well, I got one of everything,
he also-
and it's on the house."
And he also had a guy that offered us $50 for this guy in the dress to shoot fight all the wrestlers at once.
No, they wanted to shoot fight each other.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's like instantly it's just getting weird.
But what I was saying about the different degrees of interest, there was also random like parents in the back of the room just being like, oh, well, you know, why did I get dragged here?
like the group, like the father of the bride or something is just like walking around like with a can of Miller Lite, like probably thinking he was gonna walk in to see you know a fresh set of tits for the first time in years, and like instead he sees like
the first guy out is Kurt Hertz.
Yeah, AIW student Kurt Hertz, who might be Word's Big 80s. We have not revealed it yet, but Kurt Hertz in his third professional wrestling match ever, and no offense to Kurt, but he is potentially the worst professional wrestler of all time.
And he has gear where an arrow points to his crotch.
Straight like so. I guess before the show even starts, like in the boredom, I decide to just start making these guys that we like were able to round up cut promos and put them on Twitter. And Kurt Hertz, he's just sitting in the men's room, and I was like, "Hey man, cut a promo," and it's awkward. And then there's some guy Philly Collins there who we found who trades at the Mega Championship Wrestling School. I just had him. I decided to have him just curl two steel chairs while Bad Street USA played. I don't know why.
We had we found this guy because a couple mega shows ago, this guy comes out. He's completely hairy. He looks exactly like Drew Cordero, and he's just wearing a jean jacket with airbrushing on it. And he comes out to studio, and you and me were just laughing, and we're like, "This guy's great."
So, yeah, it's like, I mean, these are the weird fucking people that we're able to put together. I think we made the...
And then we booked another guy from Mega Championship Wrestling, Anthony Falcone, who tag teams on other places other than AIW with the Duke. So we put them together. And this guy almost got in a fist fight because he cut a promo.
Oh, yeah. He decided... Oh, like, I guess fast forward because, I mean, the show is a show. Like, it's nothing too crazy happens. But, you know, the Duke and Anthony Falcone are playing the, you know, they're playing the heels, you know, the easy foils that the baby faces will eventually beat up. Well, after the show, like, we're all leaving, and like Anthony Falcone is walking by the front of this venue where like all these guys are smoking cigarettes, and they say something to him, and he doesn't break his heel character, and like he like starts cutting a promo on these guys in like their real life while they're smoking cigarettes, and I thought he was going to get his fucking head kicked in.
There's about 20 dudes about to chase him.
Yeah, and like he's still, and I'm like, hey man,
let's get out of here.
You could stop playing your character now. Like, let's get the fuck out of here before the guy in the dress who's trying to sell everybody drugs beats the shit out of you. So, like, it was definitely like a weird, fun night where Josh Prohibition came and hung out for a little bit, which The Bachelor was like so like thankful that AIW Absolute Champion Josh Prohibition graced his bachelor party with his presence, which Josh just came because he was like, dude, this is weird. You guys are just doing a pop-up pro wrestling show somewhere in Slavic Village on 2 hours notice.
And he became the official timekeeper.
Yeah, because this is the kind of stuff that makes indie wrestling great, is like you just get these weird offers to do shows and do these weird experiences. We like all night we were just calling it pop-up pro wrestling because essentially we did it on hours notice. And
as long as we have enough notice to get a U-Haul, we're good.
Yeah, and we got together, I don't know, like 11 or 12 wrestlers, and we put on like a little show. And the Bachelor was, I could not believe how happy this dude was. Like honestly, like it sounds kind of cheesy, but like I was like almost like moved by like how
his general excitement,
like how excited this guy was.
I've never seen a guy more excited
to see this shitty wrestling show that we put together on like a few hours notice.
And then about Josh Prohibition, the more he drank, the more you and I were trying to get him to do a shoot run in.
Yeah, it was it was just, I don't know, it was a weird experience, but like that's the kind of thing that makes wrestling great. Like we get all sorts of just kind of weird things that pop up and typically don't pan out, but this panned out.
Yeah, because I think when Worldwide kept saying save the date, we're like, yeah, okay. Buddy.
Worldwide is not the most trustworthy guy. He also recently retired and cut all his hair off in a drunken drug
and then
bender.
wrestled the next day.
And then came out of retirement the next day with a shaved head.
Now I saw a post on Facebook. I'm not sure you mentioned it already. That these guys were hired to do the coat check.
Yeah, so after Worldwide facilitated this wrestling event for the Bachelor Party,
he's so over with the Bachelor right now.
They then got hired by the people that threw the Bachelor Party to like set up the wedding and be laborers. So like Weird Body and Worldwide had this past weekend. Actually, it happened. They had to get all dressed up and go to this wedding venue, and like they set up all the chairs. They set up all the catering tables.
Acted as security.
They acted as security to secure the perimeter and make sure there's no wedding crashers. And they also operated the coat check. And they got, from what I understand, a pretty hefty payday.
Wow!
Which you could go right to training fees, by the way.
Yeah, because those guys are a little late. They're not so up to date.
Oh boy!
There are charity cases.
They're your charity case.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's terrific. These guys can book shows for you now, right?
They get us that pizzazz, and yeah.
We will do another pop-up pro wrestling show as long as the money is right, which is surprisingly pretty affordable for most people. So if you're trying to have a bachelor party, a birthday party, a concert, we'll be there.
DM AIW at AIWrestling.com.
Bar mitzvah,
bar mitzvahs,
everything.
It's probably going to be a shitty show, but we could give you some run of the mill basic pro wrestling.
Baby showers.
Now that Kurt Hawkins is back with WWE, we're going to take his bachelor party, birthday party business.
Yeah, honestly, like it was a lot of fun. It was just kind of like a fun Saturday night for everybody involved.
And like you have talked before about how I hate outside of the box ideas or outside shows, and I had the time of my life, so that tells you something.
You did have the time of your life, and you were pretty against this idea at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, well.
Because I think you're pissed that you had to wake up and get a U-Haul.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, we get all kinds of weird requests and things like that.
Like I'm always shocked when I open, because I have the AIW email, and I'm always shocked when we get emails like there was a movie that came out a couple years ago, Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies.
Oh my god,
it was terrific.
These guys, our ring was almost the star of the film.
So we get this email, and I go back and forth with these people, and they said, we want to do a ring rental. And I said, okay. And I gave our price, and they said, that's great. And they're like, when do you want to come pick it up? And I go, what do you mean? He goes, oh, we needed at least 4 to 5 weeks. And I said, well, that's not going to work. So they were going to pay us one-time fee.
We're not exactly super trusting with our ring based on a story we may or may not tell at a later date.
But they wanted to pay us a one-time fee, which is very, very affordable for anybody. We're we have good prices for people. They wanted to pay a one-time fee and keep the ring up for a month and a week.
They wanted to pay like the day fee and keep it for 5 weeks to film this movie.
And they finally got to the point where I said, well, we could probably do a weekend. And they said, okay. And I said, it's this much a day, plus you got to get a hotel for our ring guy. And they're like, what are you talking about? You can't just leave it and go home? I said, you're 5 hours away in West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm not leaving the ring with the fucking zombies, dude. Oh, there goes an F-bomb. Oh, well, it's all downhill from there.
Oh, fuck it.
Fuck it. But, yeah, and then, like, so another time, we got, like, the band Coheed and Cambria decided that they were going to rent our ring because they were in Cleveland for...
But at first, I think we got an email that was like, we want to rent your ring for the House of Blues, but it was just a management company, and we didn't know what, and then you looked it up, and you're like, oh my God, it's Coheed.
Yeah, so, like, we get a request for a ring rental on Halloween weekend, and then, so it turns out that it's Coheed and Cambria, and they wanted to play Halloween dressed up as like old WWF wrestlers, and they wanted to have a wrestling ring on stage with them. So we had to go down there. They were doing 2 nights in a row, and we had to like they left us like VIP passes and stuff, and we had to go like backstage and meet with Coheed and Cambria and discuss the details of renting our ring and what went into it. And like it turns out that the ring was too big for the stage. So So what happens is after we measure it all out and realize it can't work, is they end up just essentially using 2 ring posts and one of the ropes, and then they rented all our championship belts, and they still paid us like full price.
And they tied the rope somehow with one of the roadies, so it looked like there was 3 ropes, but
It looked
only
like,
one.
It looked like the drummer was playing in a little mini ring. But I mean, that was kind of a cool experience, just based on like me and all my friends liked that band, so we got to go down and hang out with them for 2 straight days.
And of course, I know like the singles, so like I thought it was cool. And you know how much I don't listen to that kind of music. If it was
only
Pitbull,
listen to Pitbull,
Pitbull, Flow Rider,
or Flow Rider,
Nicki Minaj.
They have never tried to rent a ring, but like.
But what I was gonna say is, even though like I wasn't too into Coheed, or I'm not. It's so weird that they rented our ring, and then you and me at one point are just sitting on couches, like in their I don't know what you call it, locker dressing room, green room, dressing room, and it's just insane. And then
just fucking groupies everywhere, and
a lot of stuff was going on back there. I saw craziness, like everything that you heard about. It's real. But I had to sit with the manager and go to all these websites trying to find out how to download wrestling theme songs. Because at the time,
like LimeWire, I think was because this is like 2007 or 8 or something.
Yeah,
so
2007.
It wasn't very easy to track down an audio track.
So it was a crazy experience to be behind the scenes at House of Blues and just hanging out with this band that's way more famous than we were.
Yeah, and they gave us like all kinds of free merch, and they paid us like pretty well. They actually paid us for 2 nights because they had to just bring us down for a meeting, which they paid us for, which was we probably would have did it for fucking nothing. We probably would have did it for tickets, but they paid us like just to come down and meet with them, and then they paid us again to not even use the ring.
And like we couldn't even touch the ring when we got there because they have union stuff.
Yeah, like it all had to be moved by like a union person and everything. And then we also like always get these weird requests for like weird like fetish wrestling, like
like we talked about this before, and it's always the strangest emails because number one, all the fetish people are so angry when we don't like give in to them, and number two is like I talked about it before, but like they offer like come set up the ring for an hour, we'll give you $30.
Yeah, and like
when a U-Haul minimum is probably $50 to $100.
And like it's always like weird, like can like we put oil all over your ring?
Yeah. People have asked how to protect our canvas because they want hot oil.
Can we have hot oil on your ring? Like, can we like use like chocolate syrup in your ring?
And they call it like the one place was like calling it fantasy wrestling. Another place calls it like dream wrestling. It's like some weird. And then every single person, going back to our JT Lightning episode, every single fetish person argues with me, and they go, "Well, JT would let me use their ring." Yeah,
JT would rent his ring out to anybody. Like I think we've established that at this point. But like JT also didn't like he also had like a ring truck and could just pull his ring to anywhere. But yeah, these guys like want us to like want to oil up our ring for $30 and like
But it's just funny that that's the argument of every single person. Well, JT, and I'm like, dude, JT, you know.
So I guess since we're pretty much like one of the only rings in town, I guess we've killed the Fetish Market.
Oh man! And then we got hit up the other day. It's a guy who makes films of women beating up men. Like some kind of like intergender films, and it's like a guy is in his house.
Short films.
Yeah, short films. A guy breaks the preview one he sent me was a guy breaks into a house, and the Asian woman is actually a ninja and beats this guy like to death.
Yeah, like these emails, it's not like, hey, how much to rent your ring? It's like how much to rent your ring, and then a full description on what they want to do with it. And some of it is the weirdest shit I've ever like. No offense if this is your fetish, but like it's pretty strange to just get a cold email to a wrestling promotion website where you're just like, hey man, I want to roll around in whipped cream in your wrestling ring, and I'm gonna pay you $45.
But I only need it for 75 minutes.
Yeah, so it's like it's so weird. Like this is the like kind of like the dark side of wrestling that people
underbelly.
People don't know about this weird underbelly of like weird, strange requests. Like for every bachelor party that goes well, there's some like person that wants to just film a snuff film or something in your ring. And, like,
but the crazy thing is, I guarantee we're not the first people to ever be emailed by these people.
Yeah, I think it happens all the time. And
we're probably the only ones that say no, though.
You know, and then there's like, you know, your county fair request, where one time a county fair emailed us, but they wanted us to do the exact ripoff of TNA Lockdown, where they wanted to advertise 12 steel cage matches taking place at their county fair, and they had all these weird stipulations where like they wanted blood and weapons and like. And
then we get to the bottom line of, we said, well, what's the offer? And they go, well, you get to keep the tickets.
Yeah, they go, oh yeah, we want you to do all this stuff and run it, you know, get a steel cage and secure all this stuff, and we want you to book this person, and we want them, we want 6 out of 12 matches to have blood in it. And we go, okay, well, you know, what are you offering to pay us? And they go, oh no, we just want you to come do that here, and you know, you guys just pay for everything yourselves. And we're like, what? Like you, like,
and this is like hours. This is probably 3 to 4 hours away from Cleveland, so it's not like we can at a drop of a hat go, oh, we're gonna go flyer for this county fair.
I mean, this isn't our story, but like, I think one of the weirdest things that we were ever kind of a part of is when we went with Cleveland All Pro and JT, and he was hired to do a show in an abandoned airplane hangar in Columbus.
Oh, that was the craziest, in London, Ohio, which is outside of Columbus.
And he booked Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich to reunite their tag team in an abandoned airplane hangar.
But we got to talk about who paid him to be there. It was a motorcycle gang.
Oh, that's right. It was like a legit motorcycle.
Yeah,
gang.
like you know, I don't know.
I think this is how they were kind of like laundering their money or something.
Yeah, it had to be, because you and me were sitting there and just going, oh my God, what is going on here? Because there's maybe probably 50 people there.
I forgot all about that.
And then the bikers are, because it was there was grandstands, and then like
it was legit in an abandoned airplane hangar. It's with bleachers in it.
Because you had to drive like back to an airplane hangar, and then there's bleachers in it. But then there was like a metal fence like at a track, and then in the middle of the main part, which was the dirt floor, they had the ring. Well, the bikers were lined up on the fence, and they were slapping the fence like Ring of Honor, but there was no metal on it. And then you had to, like, if you were a babyface, you had to go like kiss the butt of the bikers.
I like how you're censoring yourself by saying butt.
Yeah, I gotta keep it clean.
Yeah, like, it was weird though. Like if you were a babyface, you had to go like
mingle with the biker gang,
like whatever their name was. Be like, you know, like be like, yeah, we love the Outlaws or whatever the
Fallen Angels.
Yeah, the Fallen Angels. My Uncle Mike's
good callback, dude.
My Uncle Mike's failed motorcycle gang, and then like if you were a heel, you could not heel up to the biker gang because they would kill you.
It was funny because all these bikers
JT had to give these instructions like hey, baby faces, like go and show love to this gang. Heels, do not
acknowledge
anything.
them.
Do not acknowledge. They are paying us to be here. They take themselves very seriously, and like I would love to know, because JT would have never told us, but I would love to know what he got paid for that.
And
because
he did 2 shows.
He did like two or 3 of them.
No, it was 2 because the first one was on Halloween night, and then the second one was the one we didn't go to the first one, but the second one we had gone to. It's by Columbus because we went with Drew Cordero and French John.
Yeah, French John.
This guy from France came to live with us for a while.
Well, he lived with Drew Cordero.
Well, he lived with Drew Cordero to do Beyond and AIW.
He came to America because he loves Ben and Jerry's and pickup trucks.
And Hungry Man.
America.
And Hungry Man dinners. And he lived with Drew Cordero for like 3 months.
He lived with Drew Cordero for 3 months and gained 60 pounds.
Yeah, he gained legitimately 60 pounds because he ate a quart of Ben and Jerry's because I guess they don't have it in France.
And he wanted every flavor from Walmart.
Yeah, he ate every single flavor of Ben and Jerry's while he was in America and got every single version of Hungry Man dinners.
YOLO.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
he would just
You're
come
only American once.
he would come to these he would come to these parties. He would come to these parties that I would throw, and he could barely speak English, and all he would talk about is his love for pickup trucks.
And then one time outside of your house, he thought he saw like a monster. And it turned out it was like just a raccoon.
He thought he saw a chupacabra.
Yeah. He ran in screaming, and we go,
So
what's
it's some
wrong?
kind of pig beast.
Yeah, and Thorne went outside, and it was a raccoon.
Yeah, I guess they don't have raccoons in France, but
But one of my biggest regrets of all time is we were at this show, and it's Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert versus some guy and Mitch Ryder, which all three of those guys I love. But the footage of it, JT gave us, and then somehow this is one of JT's last shows he ever ran. Somehow between us and JT and trying to get the DVD out, we lost the main event match. And
yeah, which was like, I remember, like, this is gonna sound so stupid, but I remember like Drew Cordero posting on the Death Valley Driver board on the like, this is what wrestling is all about or whatever thread, whatever it was called, and it was just like, pro wrestling is about Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert reuniting in an abandoned airplane hangar.
Because like Drew Cordero and Thorne weren't too familiar with like USWA and Smoky Mountain, and I just kept talking up the whole car ride down how the Cyberpunks and PG-13 one and the same, but they had a feud with Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert that I watched on television in my formative years, and I was like, this is the greatest tag team ever. And then we get down there and they're just hilarious.
Whoever frequents the Death Valley Driver board and knows what the name of that thread is, go back and find that picture that was posted in like 2010. And it's Doug Gilbert and Tommy Rich fighting in an abandoned airplane hangar.
In the bleachers.
And it was like it's one of the most bizarre things ever. But
And
I
I
mean,
think-
JT had to have been like a weird money laundering thing. Like I wish I knew the
And totally
full story on that.
Yeah, but totally off topic. That's the first weekend we met Marty Bell too.
Oh yeah, Marty Bell that's how we met Marty Bell. Marty Bell was booked randomly on that. On that
JT's like, I got a ladies match from New York, and we're like, what?
Yeah, because he obviously had money to burn from this
Yeah.
biker gang, and I probably found Marty Bell on MySpace or something and booked her.
JT loved finding the lady wrestlers on MySpace.
But yeah, and like that's just like a short example of the weird request you get as pro wrestling promoters.
There was one time we actually had a request and a ring rental we didn't even know about.
Oh yeah, this like you reminded me about this the other day. That I got pissed
Because
again.
Pedro, our ring announcer, before he retired, he was in charge
He's
of
like
the ring.
half retired.
Half retired. Before the first retirement, Pedro was the man. Pedro started in the AIW as like a ring crew guy and a security guard, and then when we needed a ring announcer, he stepped in. But before we had students, him and his buddies were like the ring crew.
They stored the ring. They brought the ring.
They stored the ring, brought the ring. We never had to worry. And then one time we were like, hey, Pedro, we need the ring. Where is it? And he goes, oh, funny you mentioned that, but it's at some dude's house. And we go, what? He goes, yeah.
Pedro tried to work a little side deal himself.
Yeah. He goes, we had a ring rental. Because I think for some reason, like, we would give out his number for ring rentals or something.
Maybe it was posted on our website or MySpace or something.
Yeah, something. It was a while ago. And Pedro's like, yeah, some guy rented the ring for his son's birthday party at his house. I dropped off the ring and set it up on Friday, and I'm picking it up Sunday night. And we're like, what?
What are you doing, man? Like you're just setting like the liability of just leaving a ring for children to essentially hurt themselves in. I was like, what is wrong with you?
Because we turn down all the time ring rentals where we can't have it monitored.
Yeah, there's all sorts of like, hey, can we rent a ring and have our 6-year-old's birthday party wrestle inside the ring?
Oh.
And like,
Let's get a bounce house. I mean, what?
And like Mega Championship Wrestling just had a booking for us because we run a ring to them at a mattress store, but we'd have to leave the ring unattended for like a day. And
yeah,
we're
we ain't doing any unattended stuff. But that's another thing. It's not our story, but they were Mega Championship Wrestling got booked to just have a show at like orientation of a mattress firm. Like this was like the entertainment for the new the new hires. The new hires is just a wrestling show in the yet to be opened mattress firm.
And it was like it's supposed to represent like good customer service and stuff.
Yeah, something weird. Not to steal your story, Traxler, but it's too weird to discuss. Like
Traxler and Brandon can start their own podcast.
Yeah, people don't understand like weird shit like that. Like, hey, we're gonna throw a wrestling event at the mattress firm.
Well, I mean,
as part of orientation.
We could go back to the first year of AIW, first and second year of AIW. We got hired to do the Seven Hills Home Days. And we were the first time the ring was in like a basketball court, and then the second year we shared the same gazebo as a beer tent and an elephant ear stand.
Yeah, we were splitting time with the elephant here.
Yeah. So if you came in and got a beer, you got to see a free match.
But yeah, this is the kind of stuff that I also love about indie wrestling because it's so weird and so unpredictable, and like. If you're just doing these big indie shows, it can kind of get, repetitive and boring or whatever. You get complacent. But then every now and then you got to pop off a show next to the elephant ear stand, and it brings you right back to reality, and you have a lot of fun doing it.
Can I tell my dream situation? I want to give a shout out to Golden Corral. My dream is to be in the same parking lot, and I'll book Doink and Heidenreich.
Yeah, Biggins has been working on trying to get the local Golden Corral to let us do an event Alabama Doink style.
I've spoken to Alabama Doink on Facebook, and it's probably my biggest markout moment in my history in AIW. I'm talking to a WWE legend, Doink the Clown.
This is legit. I'm always like trying to set up all these shows and do all this shit, and Biggins will hit me up and be like, "Hey man,
how hard do you think it would be to get in Golden Corral parking lot?"
He'll be like, "Hey man, I just emailed Golden Corral corporate. I'm trying to set up a gig like Alabama Doink."
We have somebody on the AIW staff that his family owns a garage, and I secured for one show we were trying to get Alabama Doink. I secured a car to be destroyed.
This is 100% true. It was a fucking 1996 Chevy Lumina.
This is how I'm spending my AIW time.
Yeah, I'm trying to like set up shows and book all these lineups, and Biggins is trying to set up cars for an imaginary show at Golden Corral with Alabama Doink. Like this is what you got to deal with when you have a partner. Is you're weeding through all this stress and like trying to compete with all these other indies and try to stay afloat, and then you get a text from Biggins at like 11:30 p.m. on a Wednesday, like, "Hey man, I just emailed Golden Corral corporate and Dr. Dan's family. They have a 1996 Chevy Lumina that him and Heidenreich can destroy if we're able to get back in the Golden Corral like like he did."
This is my dream.
So, I guess on that note, we should probably wrap it up. I don't know how interesting this has been for people, but that's a little look inside of the weird requests of independent pro wrestling promotions.
And FYI, we'll do anything for money.
That's true. Email us, aiw@aiwrestling.com.
Anything?
It depends the price.
I mean, we'll let those fucking people roll around in hot oil if it was more than $35.
Yeah. Start giving us some more money, we'll get that Jello and cotton candy wrestling.
All right. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of The Card is Going to Change, presented by AIW. And make sure to go to AIWrestling.com for merch and tickets for future events. Plenty of shows coming up here in the Cleveland area. And make sure to download the show on Libsyn, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. We are everywhere that podcasts are available. And make sure to leave a 5-star rating for the show as well. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Oh, thanks.